Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to explore the other segment of NestJS authentication. In my previous video you might have seen the theoretical aspect of authentication, and today we are going to design a login system, a registration, logout and CSRF token authentication methods. Okay, so so in this video we will be adding the 3 modules along with our existing app. So I hope if you might have visited my previous videos, you are able to do such kind of setup. Okay, now we are going to integrate 3 modules. First is the database module, then the auth module and the Redis module. We are covering Redis as an important aspect in authentication because the user needs to be validated for each and every API call you do. Okay, so we have to reduce the number of database calls while authenticating a user. So we will save all the refresh token in the Redis module. Okay, now we have to install the dependencies. Okay, so the packages required are this. This will be used for enabling the JWT strategy. Bcrypt will be used for hashing the password and comparing it. The cookie parser and CSRF will be used for generating the CSRF token. Redis is an essential caching component, and the passport and passport JWT will be used for activating the JWT strategy. Okay, and I have provided template for the entire code. You can code along with me. Okay, so as soon as you install all the dependencies, then you have to install the dev dependencies because TypeScript dependencies are there. Okay, now I am going to simply copy paste the code because the things are already covered in my previous lecture. So we are going to initiate the database module. Okay, and one more exciting thing I would like to share is like you can save the prettier, you can solve the prettier issues while you are saving the file. So for that we have an option which is editor.code action on save. Okay, and it can fix all the lint issues explicitly. Okay, so once I import this, you are able to see that I am saving the code and lint issues are solved automatically. Okay, so here we are going to have 2 entities. Okay, so inside the user folder we are having one entity folder. We are going to create a user entity file here, .entity.ts file here. Okay, so what a user entity will have, it will have all the essential information required for registration of user. Okay, so let us have an entity decorator from type ORM. Okay, and we are going to export class user. Okay, we will have an ID. So ID will be a primary generated column. Okay, ID which will be a string type, or I can keep it as a number because it will be increment in a fashion. Then we have a column called as column which is an email. Then we have a hashed password column, so we will add a column which is password, which is again a string. Then we can add roles, which is a simple array, or we can say array of string. So we will have roles which is a string array, and we can provide a default role as user. Okay, then we can store MFA secrets. So this I am not going to cover right now, it will be used for future lectures. Okay. Then we have another entity which is the refresh token entity. Okay, so what refresh token entity will have is like simply a refresh token. Okay, so I am going to declare the entity decorator. And one more thing is like you can add the table name here. Okay. Here I will add refresh token entity, sorry, yeah, export class refresh token, and it will have an ID, a primary generated column, which is an ID of type string, because I will be generating a UUID ID. Okay, then we will have a user ID linked to it, so we will add user ID which will be of type number, and we have a column of expire rate. Which is of date type. Okay. So this is a token entity. We will import the required dependencies, so we have imported. So yeah, this is the structure of database module. Then we will have the Redis module. Okay, redis.module.ts file. Okay, I will import the required, no, this is database module, sorry, Redis module is here. Okay, I will just import the required dependencies. So here you are able to see that the Redis module will require a Redis service. Okay, so I need to develop one more file which is the Redis service file. Okay, the Redis service basically will have three methods. First one is the set method. It will be used to add the token in the Redis DB. Okay, then we have the get method to fetch or retrieve the token from DB, and third one is the del method to delete the token from DB. Okay, so let us start developing this Redis service. Okay, so Redis service will have an injectable class. Okay, export class Redis service. Okay, so Redis service will have an injected Redis client, so we are going to inject the Redis client in the constructor service so that it is loosely coupled, and we are able to use the Redis service across different services in our project. Okay, and it will have a private read only Redis client which is of Redis type. Okay, so we have a constructor method. We will be importing inject decorator. Then we have a couple of set methods. These set methods are there for solving the TypeScript dependencies. Then we will add the definition of set method. So we will have a set method, and the set method will have four parameters. First one is a key which is of type Redis key. Then we have value which is of type string. Then we have the mode Redis has different modes, NX or PX or XX. Or keep TTL. Okay, and the fourth parameter is a duration, and this will be to optional part. Okay, then we have the duration parameter. It will be of type number. Okay, so we have added all the four parameters. Now we will configure the args. So const args will be a key value pair, so key and value will be saved in our DB. Okay, but this will be saved based upon the mode you are providing. So if mode is EX or PX type, sorry, okay, then we can add the duration args dot push args and args dot push mode and duration. Else if only mode is provided, we will have args dot push mode. So for other modes the duration cannot be injected. Okay, so we are getting some TS errors. Okay, okay, I haven't had a EX type here. Okay, and also if type of duration is not number, not equal to number, then we have to throw an unhandled error, throw new error. Duration is required for this mode, duration is required for mode, whether it is EX or PX. Okay, we are getting some type error here. Okay, so I think the args type should not be strict as of now. Okay, and let us add a new promise here. So the promise will have two states, either it will resolve or reject. Okay, I will add it as per the nomenclature used. Okay, and we will make use of the Redis client method, which is been injected. It will inject all the args that we have provided. Okay, and after that we will have a callback function. So if any error is there, then we have to reject the promise, else you have to resolve it. Okay, we are getting some error. Okay, so the promise would be of void type. Okay, and the args type definition will be args is of type Redis key, and a string type. Okay, so the type definitions are provided in the Redis service, and we can invoke it in our Redis module. So I hope things are quite clear how we can declare the set method. Then we have two more methods to define. One is a get method. For get, we will require a string as a parameter, and it will return this dot redis client dot get key. Okay, then simply we have del method to delete a specific key from the Redis. So we will return this dot redis client dot del key. So it will essentially delete the key mapped against the refresh token. So I hope you are quite clear with the definitions. Now what we are going to do, we have added this Redis service, then we will have to integrate the auth module. Okay, so auth module will be registered inside this user service. Okay, inside the auth module we are going to add a module which is auth.module.ts. okay, and auth module is dependent on a lot more module that you are able to see. So we will have the passport module which is imported from NestJS passport, the JWT strategy. You will have to add the secret key and the sign-in options. Okay, then we will import the database module that we have defined, and we will have to import the Redis module. Okay, now we will also import the user service. Okay, so user service will define some methods which will be used inside the auth service. Okay, so as you are able to see, we have three things to develop. One is the auth controller, auth service, and JWT strategy. So we will implement it one by one. So inside the auth folder we are going to add a file which is auth controller.ts file. Okay, so here we are going to add a controller decorator which is of auth type, auth namespace. So we will have a class which is an auth controller. Okay, so auth controller will have auth service. So we have to provide a private method to inject the auth service. Okay, so inside the auth controller we are going to add 5 endpoints. So first one is the register endpoint. Okay, then we have a login endpoint, then we have a logout endpoint, then we have a refresh token endpoint, then we have a CSRF token generation endpoint. Okay, so we will add the required endpoints one by one. Okay, so the register endpoint will be a post method, the login method will be a post method, the logout method will also be a post method, then we have a refresh token which will be a post method, and this will be a get method. Okay, so let us start declaring it one by one. So first we will add a register service. Okay, so the register service will accept a DTO, body DTO. So we will make use of body decorator. So DTOs are the data type objects which used to validate our incoming object. inside the body. Okay, so we will declare one DTO. Okay, and what we have to return, this dot auth service dot create DTO. Okay, then we will have to add a login service. So we will add a login endpoint here. We will have a login DTO. Okay, and we will add a method inside the service to handle this case. Then we will have a refresh token endpoint. Inside the refresh token we will have refresh token DTO. Okay, and we will return a service to add a refresh token or provide a refresh token. Okay, then we have the logout service. So we will have this logout service. So what this logout service essentially will do, it will invalidate the token, access token, which was already used. Okay, so logout method will essentially make use of request instance from Express.js, and it will have a request of request type. Okay, from Express. Okay, and it will return auth service. So here you need to get the token from headers. So request.headers.authorization. Okay, I will import this first. Yeah, from NestJS common. So my authorization will have a bearer token, so I need to split with a space in between and access the first parameter. Means my token will be something like this, a bearer key and then the token, and once I split it with this method, I will have an array of bearer and the token part. Okay, and @1 represents the first index of that specific token, and I will pass on this access token to my auth service to invalidate it basically. Yeah, okay, so that's it. Like, the structure looks very much clean, and that's why I like this kind of framework. I will explain this afterwards. Okay, so we will write all the DTOs one by one. Okay, so first we will have the register DTO.ts file. Okay, so the register file will essentially have a password and okay, password of type string. So my incoming body will have a password. Okay, but the password cannot be anything, like we have to validate it. Okay, so first definition that it must be of string type, then it should not be empty, is not empty. Then we have one more strong decorator for strong password. Okay, and you can add all the definitions that mean length should be 8, then mean lowercase character should be 1, mean uppercase characters should be 1, mean numbers should be 1, and main symbols which I can add as a for strong password should be 1. Okay, so this is a very strong way of handling all the incoming objects from any request instance. Okay, now we are going to add this login DTO. So my login DTO will have email and password, so I will just copy paste it. Okay, and it will be login DTO. So along with email, along with password, email will be there. Okay, but you can validate the email by the parameter by the decorator which is email. Okay, so it will accordingly validate all the emails coming within the incoming body. Okay, so I have imported this to the refresh token DTO. Will be quite simple. It will have a refresh token, so I will add a refresh token DTO. Okay, and I will just copy paste it and refresh token DTO. I will remove this password parameter and add a refresh token key here, which will be of type string. Okay, so I will import this DTO. Okay, so we are only left, we can import this controller definition in the module. So we are left with developing the auth service and the JWT strategy. Okay, so auth service, which is something that you have to be very much careful while developing. Okay, so we will add an injectable decorator. Okay, and we have to export class auth service. Okay, inside the auth service we are going to make use of 3 services. One will be the JWT service, second is a Redis service, and third one is a user service. Okay, so let us start injecting service one by one. So first is a JWT service, which is already provided by the package that we have added. Second is a user service. And third one is a Redis service. Okay, so we have this definition here. So here we are going to add 3 to 4 methods which are defined in the controller part. We can straight away import it. Okay, so first method is a create method. Okay, so the create method will invoke the register DTO, and validations are handled at the controller and the service level. Then we have to hash the password using the bcrypt library. So my hashed password will be something like this: hash DTO dot password, and the password and the gensalt iterations. Okay, it will be imported from bcrypt. Yeah, So this is a number of iterations which are happening in this to get an encrypted password. Okay, and we will be using a method inside the user service to create. Okay, the method will have the DTO and the password, which is a hashed password. I will. Okay, now it is correct. But my user service. Okay, so why I am doing such thing? Because our architecture must be clean, must be very much clean. The auth service must have the dependent variables of its own service. Okay, now we have something called as user repository. Okay, user repository, which I think we should be using inside the user service. Why, I will explain it further. Okay, so let us create a method async create inside the user service. Okay, so it will have user of register DTO type. Okay, and it will create new user for us. So we will be injecting the user repository. Okay, so for injecting the user repository we need to inject it at a constructor level. So we have to make use of inject repository decorator. So this is why I like NestJS. Is like the structure is like an onion architecture, and like the things are very much consistent in its definition. Like the things are there where it should be, and it will be very much easy for anyone to understand if the code is very much clean and we are able to develop the scalable architecture for this kind of systems. Okay, so we will inject the user repository which is there from the user entity, and by making use of this repository we have a create method of type user. Okay, now once the user is created we can make use of save method from the user repository and save it in our DB. Okay, so essentially the user repository must reside in the user service only. So unnecessary data cannot be linked in another services. So that's the basic concept. You are isolating the usage, and you are not only isolating, and by invoking user service you are also able to create a new user. So that's very much powerful. I find in NestJS is like you are making this service as a loosely coupled, and you are achieve all the functionalities of a user service. Okay, so that's the power NestJS provides. So after the create method we have the login method. So I will go to auth service in between. Okay, I will go to auth service, and here I will add a login method. The login method will have the email and the password. So we will add a login DTO. Okay, so we need to validate the user if it is present in our system. So we will add a common reusable method which is validate user. by passing the email and the password. So we will add an async validate user method which will have this email and password. Email which will be of type string, password of type string, and we are again going to make use of user service to find a user by email. Okay, so this dot user service dot find by email, and we will pass on the email. Okay, so as we have created this create method, we are going to add this method to find by email, and we are going to return this straightforward by making use of find one method by adding a where clause where email is matched. Okay, so this is how like the find by email will look. And there is one more parameter you can add, is like you can select all the required fields required to be written. So I will return ID, email, and password as of now. I will also add roles because it will be required for authorization purpose, and in future we are going to add the RBAC systems for role based authentication. Okay, now we have declared this validate user. We are able to find user. If user is not found, or the password comparison of user compare from bcrypt. Okay, if at all the password comparison goes wrong, then we will throw invalid credential error. So we will compare the passwords. We will throw new error, or we can say we'll throw an unauthorized exception sharing invalid credentials. Okay, or else we will return the user. Okay, so once we get the user from this method, we will generate the tokens for the user. Okay, so the user will have two tokens. First is the access token and another is a refresh token. Okay, so this method will be a private method because we don't want to expose this to the outside world. We will have user of user type, and we will have a GTI for this. This is called as JWT token identification, which will be a random UUID. Okay, and we will add a payload to generate a token. So inside the payload we will have the subject, which is a user.id. Then we will have an email, which is user.email. Then we will have this GTI, JWT token identification, and we will have the roles, which is nothing but user.roles. Okay, Then we are going to make use of JWT.sign method to generate an access token. So we have this dot JWT service dot sign method, and sign method will require a payload. Okay, so it will generate an access token, and we have refresh token. So we have to create a method to generate a refresh token. Generate refresh token, because this token will be saved in our Redis DB, and we will return the access token, the refresh token, and the payload, or we can say user, the ID, user.id, email, and roles. Okay, now we will have the generate refresh token method. It will also be a kind of a private method. So we will add a private async generate refresh token. It will have a user ID which will be of type number. Okay, so we have to add a token ID which will be again a random UUID. Okay, then we are going to make use of Redis service.set method to set the refresh token in the DB. So it will have a refresh token ID, and we will have this is the key, and the value is user ID dot to user ID will be in a numerical form, so we have to convert into the string, and we will be making use of ex mode to set the token, and the token duration will be for, let's say we are having 7 days, so 60 into 60 into 24 into 7. So this will set the tokens, the refresh token for 7 days. Okay, now I hope these methods are quite clear. So we are left with 2 more methods. One is a refresh token method and another is a logout method. So let us start defining the refresh token method. So essentially it will have a refresh token which will be of type string, and the purpose of refresh token is to generate a new access token. So we have to validate the refresh token first. So based upon the key from set in the Redis, we will get the refresh token. Okay, we will throw an exception error if the refresh token is not found. Throw new unauthorized exception, invalid refresh token. Okay, if at all that refresh token is valid, we need to return the new access token, but we have to delete the existing refresh token. So we will delete it from the Redis service, this same key. Okay, now we have to provide new access token. So we have to find user by id. This dot user service dot find by id, and you need to pass the id for this user id. Okay, so find by id method is not defined in the user service. So we'll go to user service. We will add a method to find a user by id. Id will be of number type, and things are quite straightforward. You need to return this dot user repository dot find one where id is matching. Okay, so find by id method is straightforward, and we will also add a exception here if user is not found or might be deleted from database. We will have to throw the exception, unauthorized exception, that user is not found. Okay, if at all the user is not found, if at all he is found, then we have to generate new tokens for that specific user. So I think the concept of it will again return the new access token and the refresh token. So concept is quite clear. Okay, now we are left with the last method, which is the logout method. We will add a logout method here. It will have a token of type string. Okay, now we need to decode the token, and the token must have a GTI, which is JWT token identification, that we have provided while encoding it. And we just need to decrease the validation time there. Okay, the token duration. So we need to just decode the token first, and if it is not decoded or the token doesn't have the GTI ID, not of decoded of GTI ID, we will throw an unauthorized error, new unauthorized exception, that the token is invalid, okay, or else we will decrease the expiration time. So we will take the GTI, we'll take the expiration time, we will convert it into the milliseconds, and the TTL will be set as expires at minus of date.now. Okay, so we will set the TTL to the present date, and if TTL is greater than 0, we will set it in our Redis service. We will blacklist the token. Okay, so this dot Redis service. Now the logic of blacklisting a token will be handled in our JWT strategy. So it is quite a critical part. You have to focus here. Decoded of GTI. Then we need to add a true flag here, and the mode will be PX mode, and the duration will be the TTL. left for the token. Okay, yeah, that's it in the logout part. Now we can straight away, okay, refresh token will be of type refresh token DTO. Okay, my bad. Okay, now our auth module will have this auth service. Okay, now we are left with developing the JWT strategy. Okay, so whatever JWT strategy will do is like it will extend the passport strategy, and it will validate all the blacklisted tokens, and it will find if the user is accessing by means of blacklisted token. We will throw an unexception error, or else like we will pass on through this strategy. Okay, so we will add an JWT strategy here. Okay, so our JWT strategy will have injectable decorator. We will JWT strategy will extend the passport strategy, and it will have a strategy key which will be imported from passport JWT. Okay, so once we have extended this, we will add a Redis service, and we will invoke a super key. So we will inject this Redis service, and we will add a super key here so that our JWT keys can be overridden, like we are able to override the inbuilt keys. So we will add this extract from JWT method again from passport JWT. Okay, and it will have a method to pick it from auth headers as bearer token. Okay, then we have to provide the secret or key, which is nothing that we have passed on to the, we will just import it here. Okay, which is nothing but the same secret that you have provided while registering the JWT module. Okay, now we will have the validate method inside the JWT strategy. It will have a payload. Right now I am not defining any type for this, but it will check all the blacklisted token. So if it is blacklisted, so we will make use of Redis service to get the blacklisted token GTI. Payload.gti. Okay, if it is blacklisted, sorry, not need, if it is blacklisted, we will throw unauthorized exception that token is revoked. Okay, if at all it is not there, we will return user ID, email, and the role that is there in the payload. We can also add roles, payload hot roles. Okay, so this was how the JWT strategy is required. Okay, now I will be making use of the Postman extension and have this API is here. I will do yarn dev user to start my user service. So we are getting one dependency error, as in the user module I haven't invoked or imported all the dependencies. So inside the user module I need to import all the dependent modules. So first one is the database module. Okay, then we have the Redis module, then we have the auth module. Okay, then we have to injected the user repository. So type ORM module for feature, we have to add this user entity here. Okay, so I am getting connection error. So for invoking the Redis module, we are going to use the Postgres instance. So I am going to add a docker compose file. Okay, and you will be able to find the script file here. Okay, and I will just do docker compose up. Oh, my docker daemon is not started, so I'm already having this Redis image here. I will do docker compose up. It will start my Redis in localhost 63479 port, and I will start my user service here. So yarn dev user. So I am getting an error in the user entity. We need to allow the MFA secret value as null. So we have to keep this nullable as true. Yeah, so my user service is started and my Redis service is running, and I am going to use my local DB to save all the things in my database. So first I am going to hit the register method. Okay, so let us try registering a user called as Sandeep. So yeah, my user is registered, and you are able to see that user password is in an encrypted form. So as soon as I query the database, you are able to see the user being created and the roles are saved. You can also add multiple roles to a user, and by using same credentials we will be able to log in. So I will pass on this. So once a user logs in, he will get an access token. Okay, and he should also get one refresh token. Let me see the auth service code. If I have returned this. Yeah, we have returned both of them. Why the refresh token is not returned? I think I need to await it, or no. Okay, I haven't returned the refresh token here. Okay, so inside the user service, inside the auth service, I need to just return the return the token ID. Return the token ID. Yeah. So once again I am logging in into the system, and I am having the access token and a refresh token. Let us try querying the Redis DB. If yeah, so I will get into the Redis CLI and will try to get all the refresh token. So the command is keys refresh token. So I have this many refresh token been generated. Okay, now by means of refresh token, let's say I am trying to generate a new access token. So I will copy this refresh token and I will try to get new access token. Why I am getting this error? Cannot post auth refresh, auth controller. Okay, so the endpoint is refresh token. So let me try changing the URL. So my refresh token is coming as invalid. Let me try adding the latest refresh token. So it is not able to find the latest refresh token. I'm getting invalid refresh token error. Let me try debugging it. Okay, so the error was there while adding this thing. So I will, yeah, so once I hit this endpoint, I am able to generate a new access token. Okay, once the access token expires, we will definitely get the blacklisted token added in our Redis DB. So that's it for the demo purpose. I hope you might have enjoyed looking the entire journey of authentication. So thanks for understanding the entire concept in depth and helping me with developing such exciting videos. So thanks for watching. I hope you will continue this series and get me able to develop more videos on such topics. So thanks for watching. Thanks, bye.